Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is what I've been using to breed plecos, and also any small cichlids or any other fish really that requires a small secluded territory where they can get out of the way and protect their eggs and fry and that from all the other fish. All it is 2 terracotta potting trays. The top one is cut in half and it sits inside, and it's actually served me really well. I really like them. They're heavy, they don't get banged around very much, and of course they last forever. But recently I've come across this material. This is some form of polymer clay. I'm not sure exactly the makeup, but it is one that you can cure in an oven. It cures at 275 degrees, which is a lot less than what you would need for a terracotta, which requires a kiln. So I bought a bit of it, and I stuck it on some aluminum backing, flattened it out, threw it in the oven, and I want to make sure, first off, I can get it off the aluminum, which is kind of important. And now what I want to do is I want to test this out. I'm going to throw this little piece in an aquarium, which is full of plecos and snails and shrimp. Here it is here. And I'm going to leave it in there for quite some time to see how it does. See if there's any longevity to this. Initially coming out of the oven, I find it is rather flexible, and that's kind of, well, it's fine, I suppose, but it's different. And I found actually after a few days it does stiffen up a little bit. But I want to see, how, I'm not too worried about it being, toxic or anything, because I know other people have used it for fish and haven't had any issues. But I want to see how it works. So to give this a better test, I'm going to make a little tray system. There's going to be a bottom one, slightly bigger as you can see on the left there, and then a top one. I'm going to make a little pleco breeding cave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a little silicone on here, as I always do, but instead of letting it cure so that it's rock solid, I'm just going to let it sit for probably about a couple hours. I think it was what it did, just so it's solid enough that I can play around with it, but also still uncured sufficiently that I can actually pull this apart if necessary, because I haven't really ever, like I said, worked with this material at all. Normally when I present something for you guys, it's something that I have at least had some experience with and something I've worked with. I mean, when I was younger, like we're talking like a long time ago now, I used to do a lot of building molds, and then those were like rubber molds, and then I would use plaster-like material, and I would make ornaments that way, and then I would just simply seal it. But this is different. I haven't done this before, so this is a complete experiment, and I just wanted to do a quick test. So I wanted something that was simple, so that's why I've been using these trays. Now this is the material, by the way, and actually the funny thing about it, when I pulled it out of the box, it actually reminds me of how you would buy plasticine, which is what I used to make all my old, not the molds obviously, but the forms, like the original thing that I wanted to shape. I would mold it out of plasticine first, and then I would use liquid rubber. And once that cured, I can pull it off the original form, and then of course I can make as many plaster copies as I wanted. So I'm not going to do that, obviously. Maybe later on, if I decide to use this stuff for other things. Like, I think it has potential when it comes to making ornaments, and also possibly hides, and maybe also in the sense of making a small area where you can put some plants and have a small cave underneath. Stuff that's a lot more complicated and also more interesting than what I'm doing here today. But I want to test it out first. I want to make sure that this stuff is going to do what it claims it can do, and also see if it has any kind of longevity, see if it picks up any kind of stain from the tank, see if the plecos destroy it, all sorts of stuff like that. I just want to put it in an aquarium and see over some time, like not a whole lot of time, because if I want to present this to you guys, I mean, it has to be something shorter than I would normally test things for. My usual test time for almost anything is 2 years. If it lasts 2 years, it's actually something I actually would recommend to people. I'm not going to do that, because that's a little too long. In the long run, we'll see how that goes, and I will definitely do updates as this progresses. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave these in over the Christmas holidays. see what it's like in January, see if anything has changed with them. I'm hoping they're going to firm up. I want them to be a lot more solid. Like I said, it's an easy material to work with. For all intents and purposes, it's just like working with plasticine. There's nothing really I can tell you any different. It doesn't stain your hands. It doesn't stain your work surface. It is very easy to work with. And as far as using it for, like I said, ornaments, filter hides, stuff like that, I think it actually has a lot of potential. But as a Pleco breeding cave, I'm not sure. I mean, Plecos are a little rambunctious, and I'm kind of getting the impression that they could probably move this around. It's definitely not as heavy and solid as the terracotta potting trays are. But, like I said, I've been wrong many times, so I'm going to give the fish this, see if they like it. And I have, I think, 3 breeding groups right now of Plecos. One of them I will pull out their usual cave, throw this in, and we'll see how it goes. That little test piece I put in that tank with all the shrimp and everything, I actually thought initially when I went to look for it the next day that they had managed to break it all up. But the thing that they had done is, even those little Plecos, is they actually moved it near the back of the tank, which is okay. That's rather movable. I think this will be a little bit more difficult for them to bounce around, but like I said, this is just a test. Let me know what you think. If anyone's worked with this material, leave it below. I know I ran across it through a YouTube channel. Unfortunately, at the time of me doing the voiceover for this, I can't remember what the channel was. If I can find it again while I'm doing the rest of the editing, I will definitely leave a link to it below, because I like to give credit where I find things. This is not my idea. This is something that came across. Like I said, it came across. So I think it looks cool. I mean, it took 10 minutes to slap this together. I threw it in the oven, and it took, I think, about 25 minutes to bake. And it's very easy. And that is a plus, of course. So here it is. I haven't done anything with it yet. I haven't been in the oven. Once it goes in the oven, lose all its shininess. It does look a lot more like terracotta. Here it is here. And I was very grateful that I hadn't let the silicone cure, because it does stick to the aluminum just enough that it probably would have been very difficult to get this out if I couldn't do that. But once I have one side off, it comes out quite easily. If I decide I like this material, I think I might do slightly different sizes for like a Pleco caves and stuff, or whatever I decide to do. But I didn't want to use up too much material on the test, so that's why this is like the size it is. And you can see how flexible this is. And also, you notice I can, with my fingers, break off, especially on this one here, a bit of, a few crumbs come off and stuff. And that kind of has me a little concerned for its longevity, but we shall see if it firms up enough and lasts. I mean, like I said, this is a complete experiment. I've never worked with it before. There you go, it comes out. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. Like I said, this is just a quick thing I threw together in 10 minutes. It is not pretty at all, but like I said, this is just something I wanted to use as a test. And I don't always want to just show you the clean, polished, and things I've worked out. This is just something that's new for me, as well as hopefully for some of you guys. So anyway, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe, and let me know, always let me know what you think of what's going on below, and any suggestions. I always listen to suggestions, and they actually give me lots of ideas for upcoming projects. So there you go. This is it. Exciting, I know. But I have a few ideas that I'm going to use this for if it manages to make it through the holidays in one piece. So there you go, a Pleco cave, sort of. But, it's alright. It's enough for what its intended purpose is, which is just to see if the fish are going to go in it, if they are going to accept it as a breeding thing, if the material is anywhere near, I don't think it's toxic. I'm not too concerned about that, because I certainly wouldn't put it in my baby plecos if I thought it was an issue there. But I want to see how it is going to respond to a really, pleco environments when you're raising fry, or it's not the best of situations. So I definitely want to make sure that this can live up to that kind of environment as well. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.